1945, the air in Times Square was heavy, not just with the humid New York summer, but with silence. A 6-year-long silence that was waiting to be broken. Everyone, the baker, the office worker, the mother, the child, was just a ghost in waiting for a single word. Then it came. From a loudspeaker and then from 1,000 radios across the city, the voice of President Harry S. Truman echoed, "Japan has surrendered." The Second World War was over. It was an explosion, a dam that had broken, a collective exhale of millions of souls. In that one chaotic afternoon, the greatest conflict in human history was distilled into a single, breathtaking moment. A moment that would be frozen in time forever. But to understand the pure joy of that day, we must look into the ashes that came before it. We must look at a world that had become a graveyard. For 6 years, the world was on fire. Cities that had stood for 1,000 years, like London and Dresden, were turned into rubble in a single night. Children slept not in their beds, but in bunkers, listening to the scream of falling bombs. Mothers across the globe lived in a constant, paralyzing fear of a telegram, a piece of paper that could tell them their son was a body in a foreign trench. The oceans were filled with the wrecks of ships, and the earth was stained with the blood of millions. Fascism had tried to extinguish the light of human dignity. It was a time of total darkness, a time when life itself felt like a curse. To survive was a miracle. To love was impossible. This was the world that humanity had known for 6 years. A world where peace was just a fairy tale. Now, for a moment, let us do something that no one dared to do during those 6 years. Imagine. Imagine a world without the siren. Imagine walking down a street in the evening, seeing the lights on in every house, knowing that no one has to black out their windows. Imagine a father holding his baby for the first time, not in a military uniform, but in a soft, simple shirt. Imagine a young couple, like George Mendonsa and Greta Friedman, being able to plan a future together, a future of birthdays, anniversaries, and growing old. A world without war is a world where a knock on the door means a friend has arrived, not a messenger of death. It is a world where the only uniform is a doctor's coat or an artist's apron. It is a world where we can afford to be kind, to be vulnerable, and to be human. This was the vision that was suddenly made real that afternoon in Times Square. In the middle of that ocean of celebrating people, George Mendonsa was running. He wasn't running to anywhere. He was running from the memory of the dead. He was a sailor, and he knew that but for this day, he would be back on a ship, watching friends die in the burning waters of the Pacific. Then he saw her, Greta Friedman, a woman in white, a nurse. George didn't see Greta, he saw life. He saw survival. He saw every nurse who had held a dying soldier's hand. Without a word, without thinking, he grabbed her and pulled her toward him. He leaned her back, away from the world of ashes, and kissed her. It was a desperate, primal act of relief. It wasn't about romance. It was about the fact that they were both still alive. He held her so tight, as if to say, "The guns have stopped, the bombs have fell, and you are here, and I am here." At that exact moment, photographer Alfred Eisenstaedt clicked his camera. One frame, one shutter move, and history was made. As President Truman said that evening, "This is the day when fascism finally dies." But for the millions who saw that photo in Life magazine, the victory wasn't found in a signed paper. It was found in that kiss. The dark blue of the warrior and the pure white of the healer. A perfect contrast of a world that was ready to stop killing and start healing. George and Greta are gone now, but their image remains, a powerful reminder of the human spirit's capacity to yearn for love and peace, even after the darkest nights of war. In a world that often feels like it's on the brink of conflict, we must look back at that sailor and that nurse. We must remember that the greatest victory isn't winning a war. It's finally being able to put down the guns and go home. What does that photo say to you? Is it a symbol of freedom or a reminder of what we lost? Let's honor the history and the hope in the comments below.